This is a thank you, if you will, for the transition from Virgo, where we have been for the last month, into Libra. It's a transition. Things are changing. With Virgo, we've reached the end of a series of seasons, if you will, from Aries to Virgo, where the discovery of our personal capacities have been on the table. When we cross that line, that border, if you will, between Virgo and Libra, we're stepping into the energy of the collective. This is a different zone. It's an initiation in reality from self into the larger world. How big is this self that really I am? And how inclusive am I going to be of all those on my wavelength, on our wavelength? The I becomes a we. Welcome to Libra. The Lively Astrologer here at thelivellyastrologer.com or thelivellyastrologer@gmail.com. Initiation. To some, trepidation might step to the fore and say, oh boy, I don't know if I really want to go through what it is I know is going to be required. And yet, this is a natural aspect of the living experience that we are invited to go through continuously. It's not like there's only one initiation process in being alive. Oh, goodness. No, not. We're invited continuously to say, I suspect, I feel it, in my gut, the beckoning to awaken to a different kind of energy that I can, sense, percolating around the periphery of what it is that I understand myself to be, saying, wake up, let go of that old idea of who you used to be, and embrace the potential for a new version of you, something that you have not experienced before. I tune into a lot of different kind of energy signatures in any week, and this is just talking not about just astrology, Yeah, I have my finger on the pulse of astrology most of the time. But also a more inclusive, and inclusive anyway, surround of energy that comes through the shamanic side of my living process. One particular person who I listen to fairly regularly is Michael Meade. I think he puts out a weekly podcast. It seems like they come out more often than that. Or maybe I'm just more attuned to finding them more often than that. But I just finished up listening to one that he refers to as finding a calling in life. And inspiration, sometimes we sense it. We may not know where it's coming from, but maybe it's a disequilibrium that we're picking up on. And I think this is appropriate as we're getting ready to go into Libra, whose vision of the image of the scales of life, if you will, being very symbolic of, what is that version of me that I really know I am? And then there's this vision of, these others who I suspect have similar versions of what it is that they know themselves to be. When you get to Libra, pay attention to that scale of life. We're being asked as we enter this Libra zone to compare notes one with another so that we don't become too affixed on being any particular certain way, because, as we open up to one another, there are versions of this living process that have been awaiting us to awaken to, that are going to appear when we, in a trustworthy fashion, engage with each other to compare the stories that we're following and see if perhaps there's a commonality, not necessarily similar, but a commonality of a trajectory forward that actually requires each of us to be willing to open up similar doors and explore. What is it? One of the key words for Libra is art, the artist. There are so many different versions of how that term art might express itself in any one of our moments during a day. Might I take the meal that I'm performing and artistically lay it out as an appreciation, a thank you to life for providing the sustenance required in that moment in an artistic expression of thanks. You can take any number of items and lay them out in unique fashion. That's a form of art too. You can take words, these floating around thought processes of, carrying meaning, and arrange them in such a way that art is the combination of a sentence into an expression that is artistic. It's going somewhere. Art it's alive. It's a connection to way more than what we might simply have thought were limitations on what it was that was acceptable. I don't think that art would ever be comfortable within that kind of constraint container. No. Art, it needs breathing room. So the expression that is going to come through is going to reveal and reflect upon not just what we know or thought we knew, but the potential for something new to show up that has been waiting for us to participate with it, through it, as it. So our dance into Libra that we're going through right now. This is Sunday when I'm putting this together, by the way. And it's like, I've got the chart for Sunday up. And I do my charts for 8-ish in the morning each day. As you can kind of see, I'm up to 8:38 hours because I've been, of course, playing around with astrology charts. Anyway, here we are. It's 8:38. The sun has just recently gone into Libra. This is Sunday, by the way. Venus, you can kind of see, 29 degrees, 26 minutes of Libra. On this very same day, Venus, the ruler of Libra, is going to shift into Scorpio, which brings a little bit more into the consideration of how it is that we interact with one another. We have this nice, wonderful trine going on. The sun is kind of slipping away from it because it was more exact at those last couple degrees of Virgo. Then, by the way, Virgo's not entirely gone because the ruler of Virgo, Mercury here, is still in Virgo. I'm not sure I said that right, but you get my drift. And we have a trine going between this Moon-Uranus conjunction and Pluto over here going retrograde in Capricorn, and this Sun. And this is, this is a unique, it's a triangle, but it's also a kite, which I talked about last week. Neptune and Uranus and Pluto are in this, sextile trine configuration, and will be into, either very late this year or into early next year. And these three outer planets, which are planets that, have a lot more to do with the substance, if you will, of cultural levels of experience, not just at an individual level, because Uranus's function is to, rattle the cage of life enough that, we're thrown off balance, And in that being off balance, it's like, what am I going to do? What's next? And Neptune says, oh, by the way, I've got an idea. Why don't I take, from a Neptunian Piscean perspective, which, irony of ironies, Neptune is in Pisces, why don't I take some of the copious quantities of the waters of truth that Spirit would have us pay attention to and pour it upon this situation that Uranus has, gotten us off kilter on. We don't really know necessarily what's coming next. And then Pluto, the great transforming planet of them all, comes along and says, What an ideal opportunity for you to let go of those things that are no longer of use to you so that there is room for something new to be born within you. Anyway, these three planets are working at a societal, cultural, global level with all of humanity right now to give us the opportunity, if we but take it, to change, become something that we know we should be, perhaps, but have not effectively, stepped through that portal into that zone. The invitation is strong right now. And since we're going into the sign of Libra today, and will be for the next month, there's a invitation. There's an invitation to initiation into, which is what happens when the sun shifts between any two signs. What was the sign before is being invited to let go of what was accomplished through whatever that channel that was opened there brought for our consideration. And the sun moving into the next sign says, thank you for the cobblestones that we walked on in learning something in that sign as we step into the new sign and open up new channels, new opportunities to, not necessarily entirely get rid of what brought us here, but be willing to be the invitation for something new to awaken. And in Libra, that invitation to awakening is something that we can, if we're inclined, be in cahoots, if you were, with others to, check out what it is that each of our perspectives bring into this equation of life in those moments and say, this is the way I see it. What do you think? And, the other, of course, is going to say, well, I'm following a trajectory it isn't that same. Let's compare notes. That's essential Libra, ruled by Venus. Is there an art to this process of engaging with one another? I would hope so. It isn't just a dull, droll repetition of what it is that we have, thought to be the standard experience of being alive. Oh, no, no. Being alive, it's vibrant. There's an energy presence that says, something bigger is available. Can we experience it? Are you willing to? On what day we have here? Let's go to Tuesday. On Tuesday, what day is oh, by the way, on today, let's go back to our Sunday again. On Monday, on Tuesday, Sunday. Here we go. Look at that. The moon has just gone out of bounds. And that, that's an inspiration to us because the moon is our sensing capacity. It's the receptive, nurturing side of ourselves. It has a feminine quality to it. And it's something that, because it moves so fast around the planet, basically circling every 27 to 29 days, depending on the speed that it's going, and changing. Oh, it changes. Moon is about change. Well, speaking of the moon and change, we're in the middle of our eclipse portal at the moment, which is about, you guessed it, change. It's more of a change that comes on with some gravitas to it. It's not like, it would be nice to change, because what the eclipses represent is they represent a look into that, lunar dance that we're doing with a signature that says there's a destiny afoot. Are you paying attention to it? Are you actually in the process of living what it is that your soul signed up for as its destiny process in and through this living dance? That's what the eclipses are about. They bring about a signature of change that, oh, of course, we always have free will to make up our mind to do what we want. How's that going for you? Is doing what you want actually enhancing the experience of what it means to be alive for you and those on your wavelength? Or might there be aspects of this living dance that you may not be as tuned into the music of life as you thought you were? Anyway, the moon is going to be out of bounds until the 27th, which whatever day that is. Oh, it looks like Friday. So all week long, this week, we've got this unpredictable, wild, crazy kind of energy of this lunatic potential that is asking us, pay attention. I'm going to spin some tales for you this week. And if you're paying attention, you're going to have the opportunity to change. Oh, yes, that's it. Change. That's the key. Well, here we go. As Tuesday comes along, we have our waning quarter moon, crisis in consciousness coming from our out of bounds moon over here, just as it's stepping into the zone of Cancer, which it rules. And Sun, of course, is in Libra, where it is right now. This cardinal waning square from that strong moon in its own sign might ask us, in this crisis of consciousness moment, is are I, we, us going to effectively do this dance in a way that is appropriate to the awakening of our soul? This is kind of like a stage in that lunar dance process where we might have thoughts show up saying, I've been going along on this particular trajectory for a while, but the beginning sense that something needs to shift is putting in an appearance. And it's almost like, could it feel like potentially discomfort? Well, that has a lot to do with your particular path that you're following on. If it doesn't sit well with you, yeah, it could be a little discomforting to say that, I feel like I need to, go in a slightly different direction. Well, this last quarter moon, all last quarter moons have to, take a look at, where was the new moon that happened in Virgo, how we were getting our thoughts and communication, in alignment with whatever our particular trajectory is, you know, are right now saying, there's, you can, in this particular last quarter moon, because the sun is shifted into Libra, the moon is in Cancer, we kind of go, Cancer is home. Cancer is a connection to our roots. And this last quarter moon is asking us, am I attuned to what it is that is my foundation, my roots? And might there be an opportunity here to uproot that quality or become more attuned to a deeper rootedness into the essence of what this planet can represent as a part of me that is attempting at this moment to awaken aspects of myself, of my expression, and, going into Libra, of my capacities to, reach out and touch very specifically each other person that I am invited to interact with. That's what's afoot right now. This new zone of Libra that is saying, can I be diplomatic in how it is that you and I are going to, put this life act together in a way that is beneficial to each and both of us. Libra is the realm of partnerships. So keep in mind as we go through this next solar cycle, can I actually engage effectively on a partnership level with each and every, with all of those others that I encounter along my path? Not all of it's going to be easy. Oh, that would be silly to anticipate that. But challenges or not, there is something that each of those particular encounters is going to bring to point. Are you going to be able to hear it? Are you going to be able to release things that, sit like roadblocks in your consciousness that are saying, I can't go there. There's just no way. How am I supposed to think? I've been trained not to go there. That is an initiation moment, believe it or not, where you're being asked to, release those blockages that are keeping your soul from growing into its next moment. In the sign of Libra, it is vital that our interaction experience is going somewhere and not becoming stagnant. Same old kind of interactions, day after week after month after year after decade. Come on, there's an adventure in life. I think of the back to our Michael Meade, acting as a spirit being. Each of us is, when we incarnate, have a spark of genius that is, it's inside. It has come along with us from a long, long line of process. Part of the experience of doing this adventurous life walk is to pay attention when, surprise sometimes, the genius leaks out. And you go, where did that come from? Meditate on that. Tune into it. That spark of genius that's within you. It's not something that you can weigh and balance and categorize in a, system of physical, evaluation. Oh no, it's much more dynamic. It's the spark of life that each of us as a soul being carries with us all the time, and occasionally, and I experience this on a regular basis. The muses of Mars, the muses of Venus, they come in and say, are you awake? Are you paying attention to what it is that, we would like to have you bring voice to? Singing, that's a form of art as well. And the muses, this is exciting when we are energetic and vibrant enough in our expression that they have to say, whoa, something's going on. We need to be down there to check it out. And you put out that call, and it's like, you don't necessarily know what's going to happen, but you can feel, is it an edginess? Well, yeah, probably is. Is it percolating? Most likely. Where are these thoughts coming from? Where do these words, leap off my tongue from? And the muses are saying, thank you for being a willing participant in this life dance and be the mouthpiece that we knew you always were and could be. Well, I'm not getting very far through this, looking at the chart for this week. I've done a couple things, yeah. Well, as you can see, Venus has moved into Scorpio. So let's just take the Libra, getting along with others. Venus, the ruler of Libra, in Scorpio, it just says, oh, by the way, while you are hanging with each other, might there be a level of, from the Scorpio perspective, intimate intensity that is, lurking in that matrix somewhere, asking you to, take a chance. Take the idea of partnership and see what might develop if the willingness to engage with one another didn't have constraints that society often puts upon us that are curtailing a magical zone of mystery that's just right there around the corner, always waiting to say, are you tuned into the life-death process? Remember I brought up that initiation factor, the sun shifting from one sign to the next? Well, initiation can also mean a process of allowing an aspect of us to die or pass away. The Scorpio signature, tunes into that life-death process, saying that throughout all of our incarnations, there are always moments when something in our reality is dying and passing away, to make room for something new, to put in an appearance. So, this is part of the flavor right now as we're going into Leo, is saying that, are you willing, really, really willing to engage with one another in an open enough scenario that you can release Allow those aspects of you that are old and worn out to pass away, to die if you were. This is in the mix right now. And remember, our moon is still running out of bounds. It dances across Mars on Wednesday, which is a Mercury day, by the way. And on Thursday, Mercury, which has been, lolling along through Virgo. Actually, it's been moving at a pretty quick speed, I remember. Almost 2 degrees a day. So it's clipping along. It's come to say, hey, I got something to say about this experience of what's transpiring here in the Libra zone. At this point, it's highly likely that, the inspiration for conversation that we engage in with each other is going to receive a tailwind. That mercurial quality just coming out of Virgo says, God, I've thought about this stuff for such a long time. I'm so thankful to finally get into a space where I can share it with someone. Well, you're not alone. We've all been through that Virgo mercurial dance over the last while. And, this sharing, which is Libra, is asking us, take a chance, open the mouth. A week. I'm watching this moon coming around over here to the next solar eclipse, which is going to happen during next week as we're going into October, early October. But you can kind of see here as we come to a conclusion in the week, the sun and south node of the moon, they're right together. They're in cahoots, And so the sun and Mercury is down there. And remember, it's moving along a eclipse. Sunday is a moment when Mercury and the sun and the south node of the moon are all conjoined within a degree of each other. When a planet is within that narrow framework of that solar orb, which can be looked at as, regality or the kingness, the queenness. That is what the sun represents. After all, it is the core of our, solar system. And as such, when a planet gets in that close to this, focal point, the sun says, oh, welcome aboard. By the way, while you're here, I would like to present you with the opportunity to actually sit on my throne. I'm going to give you a authority. Sun is authority to, make some edicts, make some pronouncements that you see as appropriate. Welcome to the kingdom. And on the south node of the moon, at the same time, might there be an opportunity to, from the south node of the moon's perspective, release factors that may actually be impinging upon your capacities to release some of the old. Allow the old aspects of the old story to just, pass away, because the north node is the moon, sitting there like an opportunity, saying, wake up. Pay attention to where you could go. Over there in the sign of Aries, There's an initiation, impulsive, driving kind of energy that's waiting for you to step up to the plate and utilize it. So that's all I'm going to do for this week. Because if I get carried, I could talk for probably a lot longer than that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say that if you want to look at your particular chart in much more detail, I have that capacity to, walk you on the life trail that you chose in our conversations and just perhaps stimulate aspects of your being in ways that, you didn't even realize existed. So, thelively.astrologer.com or thelively.astrologer@gmail.com. You can get a hold of me at either one. I'm always delighted to sit down with people and have a conversation that is, you will be amazed by. Because the individual chart versus this, thing that I do every week here that looks at a broad shotgun approach of what kind of life dance is happening for all of us, they're different, because at the individual level, you've got a signature you came with. And when we blend that signature in just the right appropriate ways with this larger dance of what it is that we're all going through, the moments for awakening show up unique to you because each of us is very unique. And I believe you will carry that awareness through the rest of your incarnation. That's all I got for this week. Have a good one. Enjoy hanging with each other. Welcome to the season of Libra.